It's Thursday, the 1st of July. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel, and it's time for a California drought and fire update. We're ready to bug out at a moment's notice here at the Blanco Lirio Global Headquarters in the mobile command post. It's locked and loaded, full of fuel and water and supplies for at least a couple of days on the road. That's our only plan here. We're not planning on defending anything here at home. We're just gonna get out of Dodge. The first plan is to escape either to the local airport where there's should be room in the event that we were burned over, or just to escape out of the area completely with enough fuel to get all the way out of the state of California if we have to in the event of a wildfire evacuation. The problem is if you don't leave early enough, those wildfire evacuations can cause more trouble than you can safely get away from. So plan A and plan B. I've had an uneventful trip over to London and back. The loads internationally are slowly, very slowly picking up. The loads domestically, of course, are full. All the aircraft are absolutely full on the domestic flying here in the States. So let's go inside and take a look at the current fire situation. I wanted to get you that Shasta drought update, but we've just had yet a third fire pop up in the Shasta Trinity part of Northern California near Mount Shasta. We have already the lava fire that's some 15, possibly 19,000 acres. I'll get the latest update here for you. Next to that we have the Tenant fire up there in far northern California, and just popping today the Saltfire on the north end of Shasta Lake, which has popped a TFR or temporary flight restriction over Shasta Lake, which will prevent me from getting into Shasta Lake unless I can get special permission to film for you or video for you the water level at Shasta Lake. But let's go inside and show you the current fire situation here in Northern California. Okay, let's start with Flight Radar 24. We're looking at the Saltfire Air Show right now. We got tanker. Oops, click on the correct one here. Tanker 132 looks like he's leaving the scene. That's the Colson C-130. Looks like he's made a drop. He's going to head back to McClellan Air Force Base for probably a load and return. Who else have we got up here? That's the Redding Air Attack, the Rockwell commander with the air attack officer overhead directing the air show. A King Air possible lead plane. Yeah, I bet you that's going to be your lead plane aircraft that's leading the tankers in on these drops. And then we got Tanker 104. Is that 104? Yeah, Tanker 104, the Erickson MD-80. So they're all working this brand new Saltfire here on the northern end of Shasta Reservoir. Now let's go over to InciWeb. I'll change over to my better glasses here. This is the new incident. The Salt incident, 2,800 acres, 6 minutes ago. Let me see if this will update and give us more. InciWeb is not the most fastest responding. 42 minutes ago, 2,800 acres. Go to the incident. What does it have to say? There's a view of the picture. There's a view of the fire right there. Evacuations. I believe evacuations are in effect right here. Yes, there are evacuations in effect right now. If you are in this area, just leave. Don't try to fight it. The wind situation doesn't look too bad right now. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Let's look at these other wildfires in the area. Here's Mount Shasta right here. And this is the lava fire that's been going on for some time. 25% contained, 19,000, call it 20,000 acres at this point, the lava fire. And this did have some evacuations in effect, started by lightning, started back on Friday at 7:45 a.m. And the Tenant fire at about 10,000 acres, located just a little bit further north, near Wairika, California. This should all be in Siskiyou County, I believe. take a quick look at the wind finder map here for the Northern California area. The major heat wave is over, so we've got a bit of a delta, what they call a delta flow. So some of this cooler Pacific air is coming in through the Bay Area and into the Central Valley and is creating southerly winds up here around the Mount Shasta area. Let's go through the day and see if they pick up much. Yeah, right there in the north eastern corner of California, these winds do pick up during the afternoon. Oh, wow, quite a bit. Oh, boy. 21 miles an hour, not good. And then they die down in the evening. The worst kind of wind situation is when you get a north wind event. If this were a north wind event right now, we'd be in a major world of hurt, much worse than we already are. Let's look at the TFR, or temporary flight restriction situation. Here's the one I was talking about. The brand new one just popped up, covering completely all of Lake Shasta. 2 more TFRs, one for the lava fire and one for the Tennant fire, Tennant named after the little town of Tennant up there, right on the California-Oregon border. Now let's go over to the Alertwildfire website and take a look at these amazing cameras that they've got situated throughout the state now to monitor these fire situations. This one is called Hammond Ranch. We're looking at Mount Shasta. We're looking towards the east, and this is sunrise at Mount Shasta this morning. The lava fire burning right in this area on the north part of Mount Shasta. Watch how it lays down overnight. This is our high overcast sunrise. And then once the sun comes up and the temperatures warm, the fire activity, you can just see it increasing as the day wears on. It's backing up, weird, backing up the mountain into the wind. The wind's out of the south, that delta breeze. This is a camera shot from Weed, California, again showing the sunrise over Mount Shasta. Those are lens flares, not UFOs. And again, you can see the fire activity pick up as the temperatures warm up throughout the morning. This is another view of the lava fire, nearly 20,000 acres. Ironically, out of Weed, California, a little bit about the situation on that. Unfortunately, things have turned tragic during the evacuation for this lava fire here near Weed, California, as one person was shot by the local sheriff during the evacuation. And here in the Sacramento Bee, if you go to the Sacramento Bee, is the full story on what happened. Here in Northern California, we've got a huge marijuana growing industry. Some of the main players that are in this industry right now are the Hmong people from Southeast Asia and the Chinese, and they're building huge hoop houses. In this fire alone, it's estimated 6,000 to 8,000 of these marijuana grows are in the area of this fire, and many of them are getting burned out. The Hmong people, you remember, came from Southeast Asia, were our fierce allies during the Vietnam War, and fought side by side with us during the secret war in Laos, especially, against the communists. And then when that whole thing went down, the Hmong people mostly got left behind. Some of them have been able to immigrate here to the United States, and many of them settled here in California, but they haven't had the best luck in assimilating into the farming of the Central Valley of Northern California. Back in Laos, their main cash crop was growing opium. But today, they are very successfully enterprising in the marijuana growing industry here in Northern California. And they're fiercely independent mountain people from Southeast Asia. So they've got these grows going in Northern California. And sadly, during one of these evacuations, there was a conflict, and one of the growers did apparently brandish a weapon or fired some shots during an evacuation, and the local police returned fire and killed the Hmong grower. Here's a little video from the Sacramento Bee. I'm going to replay, hopefully with their permission. Go to the Sacramento Bee to read the entire article.
There are many Asian trucks. They want to help. The cop, the local officers say, no, don't do nothing, do nothing. Yeah. There's a rumor around April or March, say that the local officer here, they try to burn us. Just volunteer by using our truck and then drinking water, whatever we have throw to anything we see like this.
So what he's saying is that the growers have the only way they can get these. Well, first off, the grows are basically illegal. They haven't been officially sanctioned by the county. They've got their own water trucks and water supply to keep these grows going, and they want to use their own water trucks to provide their own fire suppression, but the firefighters, the U.S. Forest Service and CAL FIRE does not want the liability of having the civilians help them so much with these wildfires, and so they're telling them to not use their own water trucks to help put out these fires.
And you look at the action today. The airplane fried the whole day. Right. Yesterday, nothing. Last night, nothing.
Okay, he's complaining about the air attack on the wildfire here. Yesterday, or the day before this was recorded, there was a large air attack on the wildfire, but then the winds began to pick up and it got too unsafe to fly the airplanes on the wildfire. So the next day, there was very little or no air activity on the lava wildfire. And that was because of the winds. Too windy and too turbulent. At a point, aerial retardant becomes ineffective when it's too windy out. And it's just simply too unsafe. As we learned in the Coulson C-130 accident in Australia, there comes a point where you need to ground the fleet due to the winds.
Nobody saw up.
That's one of their own personal water trucks that they use to water their gardens with.
Driving around and putting out everybody else's fire. Why did I come out here? Well, because it's Hmong people. We all stick together.
That just says so much to me about the cultural thing that's going on here. We are Hmong people and we stick together. Let me see if he says the last part here. Check this out.
We don't let anybody behind.
Did you hear that? We don't leave anybody behind. That is a direct reference to what happened to the Hmong people during the Vietnam War or the Secret War in Laos.
We try our best to rescue everybody.
We try our best to rescue everybody and get them out of there. So just a fascinating clash of culture and what's going on with California. That's the Sacramento Bee. Go to the Sacramento Bee and check out the article. See the links below. Okay, so let's go back over to Flight Radar 24. It's 11:45 in the morning, local time here in California. Look at this. We got MAFS 9. This is my old unit. This is the Reno Guard unit, the high rollers, I believe. They have, for the first time in California history, activated the MAFS unit. This is the earliest in history that the MAFS unit has been activated. The MAFS unit, or the Modular Airborne Firefighting System, is a fleet of Air National Guard and Reserve C-130s that have a modular system of putting a retardant system into a otherwise stock military C-130 and converting it into an air tanker. And check this out. Here's the lead plane leading him in on the drop. And this was the job I was training up to do for the U.S. Forest Service, spinning around in circles, sizing up the situation, and then going to take the air tanker in for a drop on the fire. That is unrelated. And Tanker 102, the Erickson Mad Dog MD-80, is heading back to McClellan for a load and return. So look at that. He did basically one downwind pattern loop a drop and he's out of here. So let's stick with this MAF's drop here and see how this plays out. Now, is he leading him? Is the lead plane leading him in for the drop right now, or is he just showing him the situation and sizing up the situation? The MAF's aircrafts typically take a little bit more time sizing up a situation and developing a plan to make a safe drop, because the MAF's mission for the C-130s is a separate mission in addition. It's like an additional duty in addition to all their military readiness. The C-130 crew members need to be fully current, and let's go with the C-130. Yeah, so this is their first loop onto the fire here. So the C-130 crews need to be current and qualified in everything that they need to do for military readiness, airdrop, day, night, low-level formation, ski formation using station keeping equipment, technology from the 60s, assault landings, all the different, it's a huge laundry list of requirements, plus your basic instrument proficiency. Huge laundry list of requirements, and now you add to it aerial firefighting. And aerial firefighting is a very seasonal thing, and it takes a while to get crews seasoned up enough to do this job safely. So these guys are going to take their time and figure out the safest use of this aircraft for this drop. Now, what is the altitude right there? 5,200 feet. Yeah, so they're still up at altitude, if that's accurate. So they might be making an attack on this ridge right about here. Maybe try to hold the fire at this ridge. I should have gone back and look at the Tanker 102 there. Let's see if I could do that really quick. See his flight path. What was his attack? Yeah, so he was probably dropping right along this ridge, I suspect. So let's see what the C-130 does. So the formation between the lead plane and the tanker should be about a quarter-mile separation between the two. The lead plane, the Beech Baron, of course, is talking to the MAF's crew. That would be really neat. I should try to pull up the audio of this if it's possible, so you could hear the chatter of what's going on, the coordination. And the lead plane is going to direct the location of the drop and the retardant coverage level and the quantity of the drop. Full drop, half drop, quarter drop. And they're going to work together to try to tag on the drop already made by Tanker 102. Still at 5,100 feet. The lead plane is rolling right down that ridge. I think it's showing them. I wonder if they're going to try and tuck it in there. 4,300 feet. What is the elevation of that ridge right there? See if I can zoom in and get that. I cannot quite. 400, 3,000. Okay, that ridge top's about 3,000 feet. 37. Okay, he's climbing out of there. That looks like that was the drop. The lead plane is peeled off. He's gotten out of the way of the tanker, leaving the tanker room, and also giving the tanker a option to escape off of this ridge if he were to lose an engine or have some sort of an emergency. So the MAFS has made a drop along the ridge here, bolstering the retardant that Tanker 102 dropped, and looks like he's headed back to McClellan probably for a load and return. So that's a little bit about how lead plane operations work with MAFs and other air tankers over a wildfire. So I hope that gives you a little better understanding of the current wildfire and drought situation here in Northern California. I don't know if I'll be able to get up to Shasta to show you that water level. I got to turn around and head back out to London here in a couple of days. Thanks so much for your support of this channel and for the folks on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.